Okay, let's go. Okay, I want to call the meeting to order, September 15th, the Sunset Beach Environmental Resource Committee. We could pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, and maybe I'm jumping ahead here. In light of Chad's situation, why don't we jump down to the two items that he has, if that's okay with the committee, and come back to all this other stuff?
I think we just need to go through things quickly.
Okay, well, we can, okay, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, next item is the amendment and approval of a draft agenda. I would like us to add to the agenda an item for discussion of items not on agenda. We've had that in the past, and for some reason, there's always things that come up that we haven't put on the agenda.
For this meeting or future meetings?
Well, for this meeting in particular, there was an item highlighted in the minutes about the point of contact on the Sunset Beach climate change mitigation program. We were going to have a discussion. I don't know if people have reviewed that to discuss it this time, or if that's something we need to push off. But
So, Jan, just for purpose of the minutes, what is it that you're asking?
no, the minutes are correct.
No, but you're asking to add something to the agenda, and I just didn't catch it.
The Sunset Beach Climate Change Mitigation Program, I had put together a status report on that for all the items that the ERC was the point of contact for. And I typed up a report and submitted it, and we were going to discuss that.
Chairman, I'm okay with that. However, I did not bring my copy of that with me because I didn't think we were going to discuss it. So
Well, the other item that was highlighted in the minutes was the getting approval for the ERC to meet with POAs and HOAs. And I don't know if we've done that yet or not.
we haven't, that I'm aware of, John.
Well, Chad was going to look for that.
Do we even need their approval to do that?
If you could, you could do that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not a problem.
No.
It's just not making sure we're not creating a quorum,
No, yeah, I mean, just,
having a majority. So if two people wanted to meet at a time with POAs and HOAs, I mean, going back to Greg did it. Greg kind of did it with POAs and with the renters offices, with the real estate offices on the island and just off the island.
So there's no
no.
restraint against that. And,
No, just make sure we're outside of open meeting law, just like Candace and Don have been meeting to discuss the recycling program. So, I mean, if you have connections with that, contacts within that, I encourage you to reach out to them and do that.
I do know the woman at CAM over wherever they are pretty well. Let me contact her, and I know they handle a pretty good number of HOAs in this area here in Ocean. That might be a way to short circuit trying to find people and all that stuff. Let me do that, and I'll report back to committee next month on what's going on there.
And who are you going to talk to?
Didn't ask me her name. I would tell you her last name is Chapel, registered Chapel. Cannot remember her first name, but I know her and her parents. I've known her parents for a long time.
And what does she do?
She runs her and her husband run this CAM homeowners management business. I'm on the HOA at Windfall. They handle our money and all that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, CAM, they do that for.
Yeah. Let me do
Sea
that.
Trail too,
Yeah,
but,
I'll do that.
Do you have a copy of the agenda, by the way? For some reason, I don't have a copy. Okay. So I have a question about the HOAs. Is there like a meeting meeting where all the HOAs go to at
I
one?
doubt it.
I doubt. Yeah, I didn't know.
Ours wouldn't really be any reason for us to meet with Sea
Right.
Trail.
Yeah.
and the HOAs, I don't think they meet very regularly.
Right.
So anytime we can get on an agenda
Yeah. Okay.
would be a good one.
Our just a point of information, our HOA has their annual meeting in January. The board meets about every 2 to 3 months as needed.
Okay.
So it might be a while before it got to all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other items not on the agenda that anybody thinks we should discuss?
I move it be,
There, I don't know that we need a motion to,
well, yeah, we do it amend the agenda.
oh, okay.
I move we amend the agenda to incorporate the item that Chairman
Oh, thank you.
added.
So we would add discussion of items not on the agenda.
Well, no, the items that you suggested. I had the
So we
climate
would
change.
add those to this agenda.
Yes.
Okay. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's passed. So those two items are added to this agenda. Next item is public comments on the agenda. We have no public parties here, so we go on to number 4, the ERC meeting minutes. Are there any amendments or changes that need to be made to the minutes? I didn't find
I
any.
didn't see anything.
So do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
You can make that motion.
No, I move that we approve the minutes
That
as
you wrote them.
submitted.
I'll second
Is
her
there-
motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. You have a
I have
copy?
a copy to send.
Old business, the ERC support of Sunset at Sunset. Chad, have something to talk about there?
Yeah, as of last meeting, I know that the board, the ERC, was interested in handing out a flyer or something and participating in the Sunset at Sunset that is happening on December or October 2nd, excuse me. And just wanted to kind of open up that discussion for y'all on your plans of doing that. I know this might tie into a little bit with item B. I know that Don and Candace have been working on that project and also something to hand out and go from there.
Okay.
So
Has everybody volunteered to be at that?
I would. Yes, I would
Okay.
go.
I will
So
email.
you need to tell Lisa that so she can put you on the program.
Okay.
She can schedule your participation. Would
I
you give
have-
this to Chad?
I have not heard back from her confirming the time I had asked for, but I assume it's okay.
Thanks. I will email out to the board her information.
Okay.
That way you can send her an email on agenda / signups for Sunset at Sunset.
Okay.
I've never participated in Sunset at Sunset, particularly for the town, so I'm not sure what that entails. It's my understanding there's it's kind of like a booth or a tent set up, and you just have to be there to talk to people from the town when they come in, and
Do we have to
Well,
set
is
up
that
a
all there is
chapter?
to it?
Well, they're not, that's the point, they're not all from the town. There's a lot of visitors there, but that's not a real big deal. Now,
But I think the town tent is all town people.
pardon me?
The tent that the town has is all
Oh,
town
yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
visitors. That's us.
Well, that's right.
And this will be my, well, this will be my first year working for Sunset Beach for the town of Sunset at Sunset. I will not be there that weekend, but I have a prior engagement that I needed to be at. But I can get you information is because that staff has not been really briefed on how that process will work and what our duties will be. So
Okay.
I will, as soon as I have that information, I'll pass it along as well.
Good. Are there any other questions about that?
So I assume that we're handing out something, I guess, and maybe that's going to be discussed in B, but
I think that Dawn, that could be a good segue into our next one.
Right.
But I know
Okay.
Dawn had been, and Candace, and when I met with Dawn and John late last week, they had talked about reaching out to Mickey, providing us with some type of flyer handout.
Yeah, the committee had charged Ms. Stephen and me with putting together a brochure that we could distribute to the people at the Sunset at Sunset. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. We frankly ran out of time. We had a model from Boulder, Colorado, that we're going to use as a template and change the artwork and what have you, and some of the language. But we just never got her done. And that's just didn't have the time to do it. So we won't have that. But Candace, I think we're going to have the magnets and these flyers that
That we
Mickey-
can get from Mickey.
we get from Mickey. And she said she might have a few bags, recycling bags. She wasn't sure as of about 2 weeks ago if she was going to be there.
can I see the flyer?
Yeah, it's
I think it would also be good to have some copies of the town's sign up for recycling. So if there are people that stop by the booth and say,
Yeah.
hey, let me sign up,
Yeah.
that we've got the information there.
Well, and the other thing that Steve and I talked about was doing an informal poll of people that live in the town. You know, do you recycle? If you don't recycle, why? Did you even know about recycling? Just the general thing, not to interrogate them or be pushy, but just give us a sense of what their feeling is about it.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea. The Wilmington Star newspaper has a story in it today about Brunswick County's landfill and what the status of the landfill is. And Mickey is quoted a number of times in the article. I'd suggest, well, okay, I will create an electronic copy of that and see that everybody gets it.
I've got the hard copy. I missed that, but I'll go. But I read the funnies and the obits. That's about as far as I got. But I'll look through that.
Basically, what I got out of it on a quick read is that the landfill, as we already knew, does not accept municipal waste anymore. It's limited to construction and demolition debris.
Yeah.
And now they're even diverting some of that to other places because the landfill is soon to be full.
Is that the landfill?
In Bolivia.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So all the waste is either diverted to Jacksonville, North Carolina for recycling, or up to Sampson,
Right.
North Carolina for disposal at
Yeah.
Green for Life's landfill. But this is going to be a big issue.
Well,
because-
it has been simmering for years, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to hit the fan soon because private landfills are expensive, but even privately owned landfills are probably more expensive.
Some time back, the county tried to get a landfill approved west of the current landfill, and the residents down there raised a huge stink over it, so they backed off of that. That's been 8 or 10 years ago now.
One of the other interesting parts of the story is that they've interviewed people in Oak Island where recycling is mandatory. I think they quoted the town manager as saying that they're really reconsidering this because people don't separate their recycled and non-recycled materials very well, and they contaminate the loads, particularly people that are here on vacations, which surprises me because from the people around here that I've talked to, most of them come from places where recycling
Yeah.
is mandatory, and they're accustomed to it, so they know what to put in and what not to put.
And I think it varies from, one municipality to the next, what they can use. But again, it speaks to, well, can we do better to educate at least
Yeah.
the people in our town? Because contamination is one of the biggest costs of recycling.
It's interesting. I think I told you guys the other day, Candace and I used the word education
Mhm.
a bunch of times. Like they had said in our meeting or something.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
And one of the challenges there is though finding the resources. And so when Don and I were working on a handout for the Sunset at Sunset, that's one of the things we ran into. You need some sophisticated software to produce these things. You maybe need access to someone that can print them. We don't have a budget for that, and it may be something to look at for next year so we can start earlier and maybe get a little bit of money in the budget for ERC to produce some educational materials. And
Well,
I
let
don't
me
know what the
share.
process is for that, but
Let me share what I did out at the 904 Recycling Center. I got 25 or so magnets from Mickey, and I started handing them out to people that were recycling there. Probably handed out about 10 over 2 different visits. And most of them says, "Oh yeah, thank you. I've been wondering about this." And yeah, I'll stick it on my refrigerator door or whatever. Had one guy that said, "Oh, I don't want any of that stuff." So I said, "Well, okay, I'm not trying to convert you to some other religion or anything, or make you a Democrat or Republican or whatever. No, I don't want any of that stuff." So, but they were most appreciative of it, and every little bit helps. I was real pleased with that.
Okay,
I mean,
so
this is pretty good. this
Yeah,
form.
yeah, I've got a few of those too. Yeah.
And I kind of think like, and I'm just brainstorming here,
Uh-oh.
but it's sort of a mindset where the people that live here, like, I mean, I've talked to like 7 or 8 of my friends who bought places here, and they're like, "Oh, we don't recycle down here, but we do at home." But it's like, it's kind of like a mindset if you
It
want
is.
to protect the
It
area.
is. It is.
And my only point on it is like, I don't know if there's one answer, but like we could use you could use email and the website, and then that's doesn't really cost you anything. And then you have these forms. But I think like coming from, I was like in the West, everyone in the West recycles and takes care of everything.
Yeah.
There's no garbage anywhere.
Yeah.
Here, it's like a mindset. When I come down here, I should have the mindset that, hey, it's my personal responsibility to keep
Well,
this area clean. So the question is, how do you convert that? That's the challenge.
It is.
Yeah.
I know I've told a story about we had a neighbor who lived in Schlote said I don't recycle because it's too much trouble.
Yeah. Well, my neighbor over here said they put it in the same spot.
Oh yeah, well that's the other thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't want to turn the area into like a garbage dump, and I'll draw the analogy of Florida. I went kayaking. All the wetlands are dead from red tide. The pollution going into the water.
Yeah, it all goes in the same place, but we use these green trucks separately to pick it up, so it looks like it's going to a different place, but really, we dump it in the same place.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
So I don't know. You have to probably take one person at a time.
It is.
And say, hey, have you thought about recycling? But I like this form. That's good.
okay, so so we have no brochure, no custom
No, we don't.
information.
No.
So we'll get the best that we can from.
Yeah, right.
for this year.
Can you hand those out? Can you hand them?
Oh sure. Yeah. In fact, I've got a bunch in my.
I would hand those out.
Yeah, we're gonna hand these out. I mean, they're better. They're good.
But again, it's a challenge because the county can supply these, but we don't know how many we can
Right.
get.
Right.
And if we wanted to, they're kind of like, hey, you can print all you want of this, use this temp, but we don't have money to print anything.
Can you collect email addresses from people and just say, hey, we send out information
I don't know
from the
why we
town?
The
couldn't.
town has email.
Well, people that show up at the
Yeah.
booth. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know why we couldn't. Lisa did. I asked Lisa by email about a month ago how many we might need for sunset. She said around 200. Now, if it's rainy day,
You mean handouts?
handouts? Maybe around 200. But of course, if a hurricane coming or whatever, rainy, that's a guesstimation at best.
So a couple things I wanted to touch base on is one, depending on how many copies the county gives you, I can probably help supplement the rest of them for that if we need around 200, 150 to 200. I think
You
I
have
can
a
do
copy.
that.
I'm sorry. You have a color copier here.
I do.
Good.
So I can try to help supplement that
Okay.
if we need to make up some of the loss.
Okay.
The other part I wanted to go back to is answer Candace's question on how the budget works. We have a budget season coming up that normally runs between January and March. And we can get up and speak and request stuff in front of the board, but that also allows you to do that at any point in time. So let's take the flyer, for example. You and the board came up with a design, wanted to print off 1,000 of them. I could work up a quote and then present that to council for approval to delegate funds for that to y'all. So y'all have that. There's no money that's delegated to the ERC, but if you had something you wanted to do, you would need to take it to council. It's like, hey, we need X amount of dollars for this that we want to do, and it would be up to the governing board to grant that or deny
That
it.
might be Candace, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's just great to know that
Yeah.
that there's an option.
You
there.
have that option.
So
As
we,
a whole, as a board as a whole, you have that option.
we can go back
I mean,
to the
Mr.
drawing board.
Farrell has presented to the governing board before and got permission to reach out to Deeks. So you have that. It's getting on their schedule. They do meet twice a month, but getting on their schedule to do that. But yeah, you do have that as a board as a whole. You have that right.
So if we come up with an idea that we want printed up, I think we could prepare a draft of that and work with the staff to figure out how much it costs, and then we could go to the council with a request
Yeah,
for the funds.
I've still got
Because
this,
it
but
could be easily as me printing up, 50 of these, or if it's in bulk, I could easily reach out to Office Depot or
Yeah.
Kinko's or something like that. And
yeah,
local place, I do try to use local when I can,
yeah.
and see what getting a few of these printed up.
Oh,
The one I wanted to go off to is that I know Mickey can only supply us with so many magnets.
yeah,
So if that's, through the case, how many magnets do we need to order? I can definitely work something up for
Yeah.
that for future. So when we do talk to HOAs, POAs, rental agencies and stuff like that, if it's not the flyers, you want magnets, we can definitely, if it's up to the pleasure of the board, we can
That would
definitely
be
look
good.
into that as well.
that'd be good.
Because I know the county's only going to give us so much because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have a budget restraint as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll say that Mickey's pretty excited about us doing what we're doing. Is willing to help as much as she can.
But she has mentioned she has limited
That's
resources
right.
as
That's
well.
right. That's right. There's the bottom to the barrel.
Okay, so
Okay.
what we need to do is get that brochure printed. And Chad, you're saying that you can handle that for the Sunset on Sunset? Or
what I will
do we
do
need-
is
or do
go
we
ahead
need-
and see how many you can get from the county.
All right.
I don't think we need to take this to the governing board,
No,
but
just copies, yeah.
but see how many we can get from the county, and I can work on at a staff level, just probably making up the difference.
I'll let you know
Okay,
pretty soon.
Another another idea too. Any paper that you create. I come from a technology world, so I've done this for years. But so, pardon me. I'm not
I
trying.
hear you.
But I would absolutely, and my idea would be to use outside of this, handing stuff out, which is great, but you have a website, right? And maybe eventually we have like a a web page that describes all the environmental initiatives, you know, and then you have PDFs. Like you can have a PDF for um, recycling, a PDF for CAMA, whatever. And there might be pre-made ones, and people can, you know,
Right.
with the email, you can direct them to the web page, and they can pull that information up and look at it. Because I've looked extensively through our website. I just kind of like poke through it, and I don't know who manages the website and how it's set up.
Lisa does.
Yeah, but you can put all the documentation there, and then in the future, you can, instead of printing it all the time, you can refer someone there, and you
Yeah.
can print them on demand if you want to with PDFs.
There's a lot of that out there now. It's just difficult to navigate the website because
Yeah,
there's just so many places, and every
I
time I go
agree.
in there, I
I
find
agree.
something new. And, you know, going back last meeting, you had suggested maybe the recycling, to do curbside recycling, that form could be online.
Right.
People could sign up there and pay online. Well, I actually went back and looked, and
Exactly.
they can sort of do that, but it's really hard to figure out where that is and how to get there.
Yes, I don't.
So,
That's a whole other. But yeah, I would definitely think it's a good idea potentially
Yeah.
to use the website to do all that. And then-
Okay. We need to move on.
Okay.
New business, Keep America Beautiful. Don, you're on the Keep America Beautiful
Okay, yeah,
committee around
yeah,
here.
Mr. Chairman, I talked to Mickey Bozeman, and of course the county is a KAB member, and she said we could tag on to them. However, in looking at the website, the KAB website, there's a $1,700 some odd dollar fee to join. That gives you the opportunity to get training and a lot of resources and so forth. So I just kind of hit the brakes on it right now till we can give it some thought and maybe put something in the town budget, proposed budget, to present to the staff, then to the council on membership, $1,700 some odd dollars. So I will not let this item die.
Okay, so
yeah,
we'll bring it up again next
yeah,
month.
yeah. Whenever,
Okay.
yeah.
The next item is the update on the hazard mitigation and the RCCP.
Yes. So give you a heads up finally on the resiliency grant and the hazard mitigation. I took a resolution to the council in August for the approval of the Southeastern Hazard Mitigation Plan. In that approval and the adoption of the resolution, administrative staff, Mr. Hobbs and Ms. Anglin, tasked the planning board with looking into our town hazard mitigation plan, even though we currently use right now the adopted Southeastern Hazard Mitigation Plan of our own, and updating the town's hazard mitigation plan if we, as the planning board sees fit, working with staff to do so. In that, talking to Don York with Moffett Nickel, the town was awarded a resiliency grant back in the early spring. And moving forward with that, talking to Don York with Moffett Nickel, we were awarded the contract. They were awarded the contract to work with us as the contractor for the project. Has tasked the in lieu of the hazard mitigation stuff, we have also tasked the planning board with being part of the community action team with the resiliency grant. On top of that, we are also pulling in Mr. John Corbett, which is our council member, as a council liaison, and Mr. Farrell as an ERC liaison, and created a community action team made up of the 5 planning board members, Mr. Farrell, Mr. Corbett, which would be 7, and then the 3 administrative staff members on that board or on that panel would be me as the main contact person, and then assisted with Jack Hobbs, our town administrator, and Lisa Anglin, our assistant town administrator and clerk. Tomorrow we will have our second community action team meeting to work on this. The tasks are they're looking to get a survey out to the community at the beginning of next week. So we will look over the survey tomorrow. Also try to look at a meeting schedule for the rest between now and February. And the biggest thing that's going to come out of this is 3 to 5, maybe 4 projects of resiliency. Then identifying where we're vulnerable at inside the town, but also working on projects to help with the vulnerability with the risk assessment and vulnerability study. That will not only give us one or a couple that we'll be able to seek grant funding for, or potentially all, but also where the town can have 3 to 4 capital improvement projects over the next few years that our admin staff can work on proceeding and budgeting and getting completed as well. So there's the update on that. I think the projects are the big thing we're going to get out of this. Moffitt Nickel and the state will help us take one of those projects to complete grant funding. We're not saying that we will be awarded 100%, but they're going to try their best to get us to that point where we can submit for 100% grant funding on that, and recognize programs out there that will help us do that. That way we don't take all that on the taxpayers' dollars and put that toward a resiliency project. I think this is a good thing. I know our new town administrator is excited about capital improvements, especially with the risk assessment. Him and I have had a few conversations and do recognize there are already 3 to 4 risk areas that are in the town. A lot of them include where waters and roads come into play, especially along Shoreline Drive, the Calabash River, and our causeway, especially when we're trying to get people out of here. You look at New Orleans right now in southeast Louisiana, of how they got hit with people can't getting out, and making sure those arteries are not severed where we can get people in and out. Obviously, the main concern that I have been advocated for is the causeway, because if we can't get people over the bridge, and you don't want to create a firestorm, pun intended, and can't get it out and can't get your emergency personnel on there. So all that to really kind of look at a broad overall project scheme for the town, not just one project, 2 to 4, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less than that, and the funding was for $30,000 for grant. $30,000 town does not see. It goes straight to the contractor to work with Tom to put this together. That's phases 1 and 2. Phases 3 and 4 are implementing one of those projects through grant funding and go from there. So there's no obligation of the town spending money in phases 1 and 2. There could be in phases 3 and 4, but as we get to 3 and 4, we will assess those after February. So anybody have any questions
Just
on
got a
that?
comment.
Sure.
I was town planner when Floyd came through 99, and one of the big issues there was all the roads exiting that area, 211 and 87-133 were flooded.
Yes.
Big time, serious problem.
Yes.
Big time problem.
Yes.
They really anguished over that. Still anguished over it. That was 20 years ago. 22 years ago. Yeah. 99. Yeah.
Well, this resiliency program is something that the ERC had identified a couple of years ago and had been following. And I think we had a lot of added value in getting that before the town. And the town getting the grant. We are the only community in coastal Brunswick County that has one of these grants. And it's climate change mitigation on steroids in my mind.
So how do they come up with what they want to? You say resiliency. How do they? I know you mentioned the causeway. How do they come up with the items that they want to pick? Is it just?
We're running short on time today. I can update you on that
Okay, that's fine.
on the side.
That's fine.
Is that though what this community action team is working on,
Yes.
what the project should be? So, and we're doing that with a consultant.
Right.
So they don't have them yet.
the consultant's been trained by the DEQ,
Right.
and they're walking us through a scripted program.
Yeah. And this is, I
It's
mean,
an excellent program.
it's an excellent program. I mean, we're kind of being the guinea pigs with it right now because this is the first time it's ever been created.
Okay.
And again, there's already been a 2-month extension on the timeline. So we're one of 3 towns in the area that's doing this. What was it awarded to a handful across the state, John? I don't remember.
There were 20
22,
towns,
20
or 22.
two
I think
towns.
there was
Somewhere
20.
just 20 or just north of 20.
There's 20 counties, and they were going to do 20 towns, but I
Yeah.
think they pulled in 22 towns.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's coastal towns in North Carolina.
Right.
And being the first year we're doing it, obviously there's going to be some kinks, but y'all are welcome to attend the meeting and watch stuff like that. At this one, there's not going to be a public comment period. We were specifically because it's called, we're doing a special meeting / workshop, but it's going to take place in the planning board meeting slots as well. So as citizens of Oak Island, you have that right to and use this platform. This will be,
Sunset.
yeah, sorry, did I say Oak Island? Yeah. But using this platform to provide comments and feedback to John as well that you want to see implemented, and we'll give you an update on this as we move forward until we're completed as well.
That's a good point. I would encourage you to either attend the meetings or watch it on
Yes.
YouTube.
But also
will they be on YouTube?
yes, but also use John and I as a platform to voice
Right.
your opinion as well, because John is representing the board, but also you have right to feedback as well. So please, I encourage you. This is not a admin project. This is not a sunset. This is a Sunset Beach project, but this is a Sunset Beach for the citizens project of resiliency. And I encourage you as not only members of this board, but citizens of the town to provide feedback as you see it moving forward. And I can help you with materials if you want the same materials that the community action team is getting. I can provide you with that via email as well.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
Are there any other staff comments?
I don't have any.
We have no more public comments.
Correct.
I will ask
A motion to adjourn.
a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.